Hi friends, today I thought we would do a little 2026 planner and journal ecosystem video. I did one a couple months ago for 2025 and not too much has changed. I did get rid of the chronic pain health journal that I was using in my planner, in my passport traveler's notebook, and honestly, it was just like too depressing, and I ended up switching to a calendar that we keep on our fridge. And then if I have anything like really out of the ordinary or something like that for pain or anything health, I'll put it on there. But other than that, I didn't really want to keep it in my ecosystem. So yes, that is pretty much the only difference. But let's go into how I use all of my planners and journals. So the first one is my amazing standard traveler's notebook, and I love this planner. I really love it. I like the size of it. It's perfect. The little charms are so cute, and it's something I can easily throw in my bag. It's not too big, and it's also not too big where I can have it on my desk, which is kind of like another thing that I always look for. I remember a long time ago, I used to use like the happy planners, and I remember I used like the big size, I think, at some point, and it was just, I loved it because, you know, you could just put like US letter size paper in it, but still it like took up your whole desk. So, you know, there's like pros and cons, but I think this is a great size, and it's just, I love it. I love it so much. Next up, we have my more business related planners. Well, this is a planner and this is a sketchbook. I have my these are my business friends. These are my, just small business owner art friends. So I have my sketchbook. I'll start with that. It's just a Strathmore drawing sketchbook. Nothing much. The pages are pretty smooth and thin, but I just like it to like jot any ideas down or like things I want to draw, sketch thumbnails, you know, anything like that. I wouldn't say it takes markers or acrylic paint markers very well, but like I'm not trying to make a whole finished drawing in here, you know? So I love it. It's a great size. I think it's like an A5 size pretty much compared to the Hobonichi cousin. So still something I can easily throw in my bag, and yeah, it's really cute. Next up, for my business, I use a Hobonichi cousin, and I also use Notion. My Hobonichi cousin is all my to-do lists, all my notes, and my Notion is more like my knowledge area, like everything I want to keep in the long run. Like this is like, I'm just going to jot down anything, brain dump anything throughout the day when I'm working. And then if there's something that I want to remember in like a month or two, you know, in a year, I'll put it into in my Notion. So I'll like tab pages that I need to like type out into Notion. But I really like how it's working. I did try Notion like as my sole business planner at the beginning, but honestly, it was just too much stuff going on. And so then I would just get overwhelmed and then like not work because I'm just so stressed out. So it was like, it wasn't really productive to have my business stuff on Notion other than like what I'm doing now, which is also, I do like my video planning, my content planning on there, and scripting, you know, stuff like that, where I'm not going to write out the whole script in my cousin here. So yes, this is how I've been using my Hobonichi cousin. And I also have the 2026 one ready to go because I got it in Japan. So it was really nice because then I didn't have to pay a lot more, you know, to get it here. Take a sip of my tea. Okay, so I thought I would go in a little bit more depth of my business planner, just the Hobonichi cousin, not the Notion. But what I first do is I'll go into my traveler's notebook or my Google Calendar, which is just shared with Peter, my husband. And so we'll go into that. Well, I'll go into that and see if I have any appointments or like any events or something, you know, somewhere we have to be on specific days. And then I'll go into my monthlies. So let's see. All right, example, just trying to make sure that there's nothing like private on here. So I have my monthlies, nothing pretty, okay, but this was November, and then I just put any major appointments, and yeah, so like doctor's appointment or something. I can't see, yeah, dinner with parents, doctor's appointments. And then I'll also go in and kind of like highlight when I have a shop update, just to like make it more bold and easy to see. I was putting my videos in here. I'm still not really sure because of Notion, and I've been using Notion more as like content planning and scripting the videos and, you know, going more in depth. So I'm not too sure if I'm going to keep my content in here. I was also using the like yearly overview to write like all of my content stuff, but it kind of gets a little hectic. So this is what I've been doing. Also, I do X everything out because I don't know why. I don't know if you are all like this too, but like I tried not to at first. Like if I have a to-do list, usually I would try to check mark off something or like write an X over the dot or something when I finished, but sometimes it just doesn't feel like good enough, and I'm gonna just try using a highlighter or marker and then highlighting it all. So yeah, that's my little rant. I don't know. So this is like example is I have to X the days because I feel like I still get confused or I don't know, I just overwhelmed that I have to mark the day off, so I'm like not thinking I have more days in a month than I do, you know what I mean? All right, so then for my weeklies, as you can see, I kind of started doing the thing where I was like highlighting or like marking over what I completed, and I do think it really helps a lot. And then here, if I like didn't finish a task, I would just put an arrow to move it to the next day. But I'm thinking either I do that or I cross it off. So like, I don't know. For me, if I see this, I mean, I know that like I didn't finish, so then I wanted to put it to the next day. But part of my brain is like, no, you gotta mark it off or else like you're gonna keep looking at this to-do list. So I don't know. Anyways, I think it's working. There's definitely a few things like I've changed. I started to do it where I would block off like the time that I was actually posting content, but I think it just gets a little bit too, I don't like the look of it because like it only, you know, you're only posting the content a half an hour block or something. So then it's like a really small line that you're just putting these blocks in, and I just don't really like it. So I'm tempted to start maybe next week or this week still. Well, when you see this, it's a Friday, but next week, I'm tempted to make it where like I have more of like a categories area and, you know, don't use the hourly. Because I think sometimes hourly is what messes up how I feel about this planner, when I should really just look at it as like a weekly spread, and it doesn't have to be very specific to the hour. So that is that. But I do really like it because I feel like I was saying earlier with Notion, it gets to be a little bit too much, and then I'm so focused on like how it looks and just like the design aspect of it, that it just takes away from like actually being productive. But there's things that it is helpful for, you know, like I'm not gonna write a whole script in my Hobonichi cousin, or like all these like long notes of stuff that I want to keep for the future. So that's when I see it coming in handy. And then in the back I have dailies, and honestly these are just, they are scratch paper. Like this was my November shop update plan. I just wrote a whole list of things, and then as you can see on the back of this page I had a whole swatch of different things. So you know, it's just very scratch paper, and that's okay, because when I was using this as a planner, when I was using it as a journal, I did feel really overwhelmed with that, because I'm not the type to really like write a diary kind of thing, unless I was like really sad, really stressed, you know, something like that. Then I had a lot of words. But then when it's just like my day to day, I don't really have much that I want to write about other than like the memory keeping aspect or commonplacing aspect. So I feel like in this sense it's nice, because I just use it as scratch paper, and that's fine. And then if there's anything super important that like I need in the future, I'll just pop it to Notion, and then I can easily find it and search it on there, versus going 2 years ago to my Hobonichi and looking for some note I took, which I mean, I still don't think I don't think I'd really need to do that much, you know, like really when you think about it. But I like to have stuff to be easily organized and easy to find in the future for when I need it, which I probably will never need it, but you never know. So yes, that is my Hobonichi cousin. And last but not least, we have my A5 Filofax, and I have my own planner inserts, and I do memory keeping in here, commonplacing in here, and like junk journaling, you know. But I love it. I just don't know if I'm going to keep it as A5 next year. I'm still working in the A5, and it's a good size when I've done a lot of things, like gone to a lot of events or gone on a vacation, or you know, something like that. It's a nice size. Or especially like when we were in Japan and I was junk journaling and just putting all of our memories, you know, like receipts and, you know, like pictures and everything like that. It's a nice size. But once it gets to like the regular days, you know, where you're not like going out or doing something every weekend, every day, it starts to be like a little much. And then it starts to make me feel kind of like I didn't use my journal enough. So I am thinking if I want to use the personal size next year. I mean, honestly, it doesn't really matter, you know, like I could switch back and forth. It's fine. But I'm just trying to think if I want to do that, because I did make my own inserts. So, you know, I got to take the time to make my own inserts for the personal size, but I mean, it's not that big of a deal. So yes, that is my planner and journal ecosystem for next year. I really love it. It's probably the most like consistent I've stayed in a lineup or ecosystem ever. Usually I'll like switch my planners and journals around a lot, but I feel like this year I kind of really figured out what I need in a planner and journal. And yeah, I think it led me not to switch around as much, even though like I don't really love doing that, because to me it's stressful trying to change planners and journals a lot, which I used to do. But at the same time, like I always have to tell myself it's not that big of a deal. You know, like if something isn't working, go ahead and change it. And so, yeah, I don't really know what the point of me saying that was, but yeah, I was really happy to not buy a lot of planners and journals this year, because I actually liked what I was using a lot and I think it was working. So that is all. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Be sure to like and subscribe if you're not, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.